Okay.
There's a red dot. Hi, Ellie.
Hey. Oh, Lenny.
I just want to say, Ellie, what a blessing it is to have you with us. But I'm most interested in how our story has impacted you and why you decided to just drop everything and do what you're doing.
Well, when Vandy told me that you were getting out, I mean, it was just so happy. We've been praying for this and thinking about it for, I'm not as long as she has, but the last 2 years, you know. And when she told me you were getting out, and I asked her, you know, what kind of documentation there would be, and she told me that, you know, it's just like the local TV station. Something inside just opened up. It was like a knowing, you know. I felt like I got a directive from the divine to just go. It just felt like every cell in my body said, go ahead, do it, do it. And I was like, this isn't a good time. I just got a cat, I've got a dog, I've got 500 plants, I don't have a job. How's this going to work exactly? And I want to say I was offered a job on this trip. So when I go home, I've got a job waiting for me.
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
How about that?
That is blessing.
And I told Vandy I am not a professional videographer, which you will see.
I can tell.
But I think that your story is so important, and I think getting bits of it on video is important. And I don't know, it was just clear. I just felt like God told me, go. And so when you get that clearly, it's time to go. And I have learned so much on this trip. The process involved in getting you out, all the players, the incredible orchestration, the divine orchestration of this person had to know that person so that they could meet this person in this weird place. And I just feel so blessed to have been able to have been in any way involved in your amazing story. And I believe in the two of you and what you can do together, because I see that you have so much love and spirit. And I think your book, by the way, is perfectly named. I love conquers all. Love is the way. And I do believe that is the essence of God, of the divine. And there's a certain flow with love, and that flow just said, Virginia is this way. And so it's been great. I've learned so much, but you know, I think a lot of what underlies the problem of over-sentencing, mass incarceration, there are a lot of roots of racism in this, and I've learned a lot more about race during this. Like when you said that the guys in prison said you were like a white guy in black skin, I was like, why? You know? And I think it just speaks to how marginalized people have been, African Americans, in our society, that because you had certain advantages like travel and you know, your mom really looking out for creating a safer environment for you when you were kids, that was somehow perceived as white. You know, it just that's everybody. You know, everybody should have that. So that was very powerful to hear that. It's interesting observing motives as well, why people do what they do, from lawyers to advocates and individuals. Yeah, I need another question.
Okay. Lionel or Vandy?
Share how we met.
Wow. I got a job in the Grand Canyon working at the North Rim at a corporate concession because I just absolutely love the Southwest. After 6 weeks of dealing with wild drunkenness on the part of coworkers and no accountability created by the terrible management, I left and found a job in Escalante, Utah. And in Escalante, Utah, I met a woman named Sheila Mickey, who became my hiking buddy, and she ended up moving from Escalante and moved to teeny weeny little Marysville, Utah, population a few hundred. And one day she said, let's go to the farmer's market. And I thought, well, there's nothing to do out here but hike, so sure, let's go to a farmer's market. And we went, and there was someone selling some aprons, and there were a few tomatoes for sale. I mean, this was like rinky-dink. And there sat this beautiful woman behind a table of jewelry with one book on the table. And as soon as I saw her, you know, sometimes you see someone and they just look familiar, like, I know you. you know. We just hit it right off, and she sold me the book Love Conquers All for only $10 instead of $15. I got a discount because it had already been signed. Well, I took that book back, and I've been interested in the criminal injustice system for a long time, and I've read a lot and I've watched a lot of documentaries and TV like Lock Up, and just I don't know, I relate to it, having been a survivor of domestic violence and really experienced a feeling of being trapped and unable to get away. And I have a little bit of claustrophobia, so the prison thing is just like, wow, I don't know how anyone does it, and it's so cruel. And I've suffered in my life, so when you've suffered, you tend to develop some empathy for others who suffer. And I was real low on the totem pole in my family coming up, and so I can culturally, I relate to the underdog. I relate to people who are not being treated fairly and not being included, because I've lived that in my own ways. And when I read the book, it just resonated so much. It was such a beautiful love story on so many levels. I learned spiritually too, like really helped me like refocus on intention and how incredibly powerful that is, and how important it is to be doggedly positive. So anyway, I took the book home, read it, and I was like, wow, that's who she is, that lady selling jewelry. And we just, I don't know, there was just this simpatico, there was just this understanding between us from the beginning. And I think also being, in a culture around here that's alien to me, because I'm not Mormon, meeting someone else who had similar spiritual beliefs, who had similar passions about, injustice, was just like, it was just a drink of cool, clean water in the desert. And we stayed in touch. We talk on the phone. I wrote some letters for you, made some phone calls. I mean, the more I learned about you, the more I came to admire you. And then I got to meet you, and I saw she was not exaggerating about her wonderful husband. And I just feel so blessed to have been part of this process. And when we were in Virginia, I thought, oh my gosh, I am like such a rookie. There were times I forgot to turn the sound on. One time the camera was on, so there's probably a good 20 minutes of sidewalk, but as the time has gone on, I've gotten a little better. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm like this rookie tag along, oh my gosh. And then it started to come together, doing interviews with you guys, with Cog, seeing how the pieces fit together. Your brother, I have learned so much from him, really beautiful examples of taking back identity and self-worth in a culture that is, for the most part, so devaluing and so wrong-headed in values in terms of outward appearances and status and money. Because the true deal is love. The true deal is the heart. And your story is, in many ways, the ultimate love story. You know what? It's the opposite of Romeo and Juliet, who destroyed one another out of love. This is building out of love. I think you're a contemporary tikkun, what's the word in English, like a redemption or reparation or something on fixing of that Romeo and Juliet story. It's so beautiful. And now that you're together, I just feel like the blessings will continue because you've done the right thing. You're in that flow. And I think the good that you all can do is, I just can't wait to see what happens. And if I can be any little part of that, it's my deepest honor, because ultimately, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about Ellie, it's about, whatever little bit it's just all, God working through all of us,
Amen.
It's being in that flow of love. So I feel incredibly blessed and honored, and I think the purpose of this will continue to be revealed. And to me, it was a great affirmation that I left thinking, I can't afford this, and then boom, a job. Same as with you, a job. It's a great gift. Teach a man to fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teach a woman to earn some money. So anyway, yeah, I think that's about it.
All right.
Any other questions? I want to get some photographs.
So how do I turn this off?
Press that little red button again.